Hi everyone, this is Priscilla Galindo. This is my presentation on the flipped classroom. Before we go into the presentation, I just wanted to start off by saying that the flipped classroom is a really unique and interesting strategy. It's really fun to implement it in your classroom, and I think that it can be used by new teachers or teachers that have been teaching for many years. I think that it's really for anyone that would like to implement more technology, implement, a unique strategy in their classroom. So let's get right into it. Okay, so what is a flipped classroom? So the flipped classroom was created with the understanding that some students are just very busy with sports or clubs. So it was also created with the desire to help struggling students. So going back to, you know, students that are busy with sports. So an example that I read in the Flip Your Classroom book, it said, it had an example that there was a student that she would often miss like her last one or two periods of class sometimes or of school, and she was actually in sports, so she would leave early to go to sports meets or sports games, sport practices, and she would often miss, the lecture. She would miss what was going on in class. She fell behind. But with the flipped classroom, it was created that, or for students that were busy with sports, they can access these videos online wherever they are. And it was also created with a desire to help struggling students. So, what is being flipped is the work done at school and home. So, in a traditional classroom, you know, the teacher presents a topic. They either direct teach or cooperative or inquiry teach. And, at home, they do the assignments or the homework that is kind of like the supplemental or assessment of what they learned at school that day. But in the flipped classroom strategy, what is being done at school and home is being reversed. So it's completely just flipped, like it says in the title. Instead of listening to a lecture in class, the teacher pre records the lecture for the students to watch at home. So, for example, if maybe it was a Monday night, instead of the student doing homework, you know, Monday night for to turn in Tuesday morning, the student would actually be watching a video, a pre-recorded video from their teacher about a certain topic or topics. And the next day, they would engage in discussions about the video. They would participate in activities with other people in their table groups or other people in class in general, or they would even work on assignments like problems that were correlated to the videos. So it's literally how it says in the name, it's just flipped what they do at home and what they do at school. And you may be asking, why would you want to do this? Why would you make students watch a pre recorded video at home and then, do the work for in class the next day? Well, we're going to go into it in the next few slides, why you should flip your classroom, or, what exactly a flipped classroom does. But for now, it allows students to ask more questions in class. So the student gets to directly ask their teacher questions that they had from the video. They can ask other classmates. It also, the time they have in class, it opens a lot more time for activities to be done in class. So that's what I really like about it too. Okay, so then this next visual, it's just showing what I was trying to explain. So the flipped classroom, it says on the top, in class, the students are going to participate, applying key concepts with feedback. So you could see that they are talking to their peers, they are talking to their teacher. And on the bottom where it says out of class, you can see that before students would be preparing to participate in class activities. So they would be either doing homework, but in this case it's showing kind of like the mastery, the flipped mastery model, the newer model of the flipped classroom. Before, students would watch the videos, take notes, write down their questions, prepare for the next day activities. But now in the flipped mastery model, students check their understanding and they can extend their learning. So by extending their learning, it just means that if they feel like this one particular video that was assigned for that night is they're solid with it and they feel like they can keep going on to the next video, it actually allows room for students to go kind of like at their own pace. So they can get ahead, just like I said in the last slide. So this is also really, really awesome. All right, next slide. So what the flipped classroom does. So it personalizes each student's education. So, the flipped classroom really allows teachers to spend more time with their students, but they also get to kind of familiarize themselves with each one of their students in a better way. They can interact with them better and they can modify their assignments in class. They can modify, you know, anything that they feel will benefit the student. So it really personalizes each and every one of the student's education. It also helps students with busy schedules, like we said before, students with extracurricular activities to not fall behind. Like we talked about that girl that, she was involved in sports, but we shouldn't we shouldn't penalize them for being involved in sports. We should actually, try to help them. So these videos would actually help those students to not fall behind. And then, like we said, it also helps students to get ahead. So it also utilizes a variety of technological devices to convey the information. So whether that be your laptop, your smartphone, your iPod, your tablet, any sort of technological device to display the video or a podcast that your teacher created for you to learn, it really utilizes it really I'm sorry. It really utilizes a variety of different things, which is really, really cool. It also allows students to pause and rewind their teacher, which this is one of the things that I found most interesting is that, yes, since they are videos, the students can pause the video, they can rewind to hear a certain part again, and it ultimately, pausing and rewinding, it ultimately alleviates the stress of note taking and allows students to comprehend the information a lot better, in my opinion. And, by pausing, they can pause if they need a break or if they need to pause to finish the thought that they're writing down and then rewinding to catch anything that they missed. I think that's a really great tool. And also when students are trying to review for exams or trying to review for, just to brush up on their skills, they can rewatch these videos. So that's also really nice. So again, to just continue what we were talking about in the last slide, the flipped classroom also increases student-teacher interaction, as well as student-to-student interaction. So the teacher is more available, being able to walk around, communicating with their students, answering any questions, guiding them through activities, but it also increases interaction between all students in the classroom. So the students can collaborate, they can communicate, they can work together to do whatever their teacher has for them to do that day. And then it also changes the role of the teacher from presenter to learning coach. So instead of like in a traditional classroom, the teacher may often, direct teach in front of the classroom. They are standing in the front of the classroom while their students are taking notes or just, listening. So it changes the role from that to, you know, learning coach because they are actually readily available to every student to be able to help them to learn better, to understand the concepts better, guide them in what they're supposed to be doing. So, and then, the last 2 points, it changes classroom management. So in a traditional classroom, There's often, in every classroom, not just traditional classrooms, but there's often disruptive behavior, disruptive students, off taskness. So, the flipped classroom, it really changes the whole management of the classroom. How? Well, you know, the students are communicating and collaborating with their teacher and with other students. They are working together. They are actually putting what they learned to use. So they are doing hands-on activities. They're, like we said before, they're collaborating in group work. So it really changes the whole game. Instead of the teacher feeding the information to the student has to sit there just listening and writing, not being able to talk, not being able to move. Well, in the flipped classroom setting, the student's able to, use multiple intelligences, using kinesthetic, using visual, using listening, speaking. They're able to utilize so many different things so they're not feeling a little antsy, feeling like they have to kind of be, sitting quietly. So that's really interesting. And then lastly, the flipped classroom videos can make it easier on substitute teachers. And I know that, substitute teachers would really appreciate that if if they walked into a classroom that was a flipped classroom and the students had already watched the video from the night before and knowing everything, that they do in class, how everything works, what assignments they're going to do for that day. The substitute teacher could really be more of a kind of like a supervisor in that sense because all the students should already know what they're doing and they kind of have to just be there maybe to kind of help them get back on task if they're getting off task, but the students should already know what they're doing and, they can continue doing what they're supposed to be doing on that day so that when their teacher does return the next day, um, they can continue on to their schedule. So that's really interesting as well. So, big question, how do I implement the flipped classroom? So, you first want to start by considering what type of platform you would want to display your videos on. So, that could be YouTube. That's a really good one and it's free. Um, if not YouTube, maybe you can create your own blog where you can post your videos and you can give the link to your students to be able to access your videos. Next, you have to decide if recording videos or screencasting videos are right for you. So, what I mean by this is if you want to direct teach, and have a video camera recording what you're doing, that's one thing. But if you want to have maybe like how you're viewing this video, it's with a PowerPoint, it's using a screencast technology, and it's still a video. That's another option. So you have to decide which one you would rather do. Next, you would consider the video making equipment that you would need. So you would probably need a few different things, a computer, of course. You might need a microphone depending on what type of videos you're making. Screencasting software if you're going to go through that route, and a webcam or a video recorder of some kind, like a video camera. Next, you would plan your lessons. You would come up with your objective like you always do when making your lessons. Think about the topic, think about the materials you're going to need, think about, how you want to teach them. Do you want to direct teach? Do you want to cooperative teach or inquiry teach? It's up to you. After you plan your lesson, you would then record the video. So like I just said, it might be a direct teaching recording of yourself or a screencast video with a PowerPoint. Whatever you feel is best for that topic, you decide for that. Next, you would edit the video, and this, like I read in the Flip Your Classroom book, could be very time consuming. It could take a long time to edit your videos, but the end result would probably be better because you can go back and scratch off something that wasn't relevant, or maybe you want to edit out to make it shorter, or input maybe some images or some sound effects in your video. That could be an option for you too. And then lastly, you would then publish the video on the platform of choice, making sure the videos are available for all your students to access it. So if you maybe have a student that doesn't have anywhere to access your videos online, I read in the book, Flip Your Classroom book, that you could burn the videos onto a CD, and most students do have like a TV or somewhere to view a movie on. Um, so that could be an option as well. If not, then you would have to probably further see what would be a best option for those students that don't have the technology to access at home. All right, we're getting close to the end of the video. So suggestions for making videos that your students will enjoy watching. So you want to keep your videos around 10 to 15 minutes, and keep in mind that you should probably do one topic in one video. So one topic equals one video. Just so they don't get tired, um, they don't start dozing off, because they are going to be watching these videos at home probably sometime before bedtime. So you want to make sure that you're keeping it short, you're keeping them engaged, you're keeping their interest at heart. So next, you want to consider this suggestion to animate your voice. So you might want to sound a little bit more enthusiastic. Like I said, again, they're going to be watching these videos at home, so you want to make sure that you're keeping them engaged with your voice or with any sound effects or images in your videos. Another suggestion is to have other teachers guest star in your videos. So I feel like this would work really well for teachers in like middle school and in high school, because you can get like their other period teachers to join in on the videos, even as a guest star or just as a character in your video for one day. I think that would be really interesting, and they would probably find it really funny, and they would probably appreciate the videos more. Another suggestion: add humor, jokes or puns, kind of like wakes them up a little bit and kind of, helps them see like, you know, the humor in, learning, or the humor in the topic, if maybe, or maybe if it's a really dry topic, maybe it's, considered boring to them, maybe you could just spice it up by adding your own touch of humor or jokes, and that could really just help them learn the topic better, want to learn the topic better. Another suggestion is to add annotations. So you can get a writing tablet and a pen, and you could add, as you go through your screencast, you could add annotations for the students to look at, maybe specific things you want them to note. If you want to circle something very important, highlight anything, that would be an option for you. And then the second to last suggestion is to add variety and dimension by zooming in and out of your videos. And then the last suggestion is to add a copyright-friendly song or jingle at the beginning and or ending of the video. And I feel like that would make it seem more like if they are watching maybe like a show, or if they are, watching something enjoyable, those type of videos or shows that they usually watch has like an introduction song and an outro song. So I feel like that can maybe make it feel like, oh, okay, the song comes on. I know that it's gonna be my teacher right now, but it's okay. It's awesome. Like, I'm watching my videos from home, and adding that ending song could kind of like, you know, suggest to them that the video is about to end. So that's really interesting. All right. So to conclude, the flipped classroom can be done in a variety of ways, utilizing many different forms of technology. Not all students learn best from the direct lessons presented in class. Direct lessons can be better utilized at home for students to be able to pause and rewind. The time in the classroom could then be put to better use, such as participating in discussions with teachers and students, doing activities, doing assignments, tests, labs, etc. The flipped classroom has so many benefits and amazing outcomes that surpass the traditional classroom layout. And then this very last slide is just further readings and videos to view on the flipped classroom. Maybe you want to learn more. Maybe you want to watch actual videos of people showing you what their flipped classroom looks like. So that's what the first video is about. The second link is a link to the book that I utilized in the presentation. So it is the Flip Your Classroom book, and it's a PDF copy of the book. So you can access it for free online and learn more about what the flipped classroom is. Um, it has a lot of success stories, or in the book, so you can read about how other teachers utilized it, how it changed their classroom exactly, and you could really enrich yourself more on the flipped classroom strategy. So that's the end of my video. I would just like to thank you for stopping by. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to leave a comment, go ahead and do so. And talk to you guys later. Thank you.